Finally, today we will discussing a very important aspect because we have discussed about the talent, identifying talent, engaging talent, development talent, deployment talent, assessment talent, right. But what is important is this, their engagement. You screen the talent, but the talent is not engaged at the workplace, then definitely it will be zero. Our all efforts will be zero. So, to avoid this situation, we should know that how our talented employees, they are engaged, what are their sentiments, what they feel about the organization, and if we know timely, then definitely we can develop them, convert them, involve them, engage them before time. Before time is before they leave. Before they leave the organization and our employees turnover increases, it is better that we understand their feelings and sentiments. And this particular session is wonderfully covers about these aspects, and I am sure that you will also enjoy, that is the how we have to be the more effective in managing the talent by knowing their feelings and sentiments. So, introduction, what is the employee sentiment analysis, what is the employee sentiment analysis and why does it matter, working in the knowledge economy, defining employee sentiment analysis, introducing sentiment analysis technology, becoming the part of the conversation and references. So, what is the employee sentiment analysis? Employee sentiment analysis involves the gathering large volumes of opinions and feedback from your employees to capture, quantify and measure their perception of your organization. So, therefore, it is the, whenever we are talking about the employee sentiment analysis, so it is the gathering the large volumes of opinions and feedback. Whatever the opinions or feedback they are having, so that we will collecting from these employees, and normally from all employees we have to collect their sentiment, but especially those who are the assets for you and very critical positions they are working, and the organization will suffer if these employees leave the organization, and such critical positions employees sentiment analysis at least of these employees is to be done, if it is not possible to do for all the employees, to capture, quantify and measure their perception. So, here we will talk about, that is the if you remember, we have talked about the psychometric analysis, and in the psychometric analysis we have talked about the different scales. So, that is the capture is there. Then the quantifying, because the unless and until whatever the tacit knowledge is there, if it is not converted into the explicit knowledge, then it will difficult to measure. So, it is very important, that is we are not only the quantifying, but also the measuring that number and their perception of the organization, about our organization, and how they feel about the work. So, these particular about the organization and about the work, these are very important issues. So, these perceptions are to be positive. Perceptions will be having the absorption, commitment, loyalty, dedication towards the organization, towards the job, right. So, sentiments analysis is more than knowing how employees feel or what they are saying about you when they talk about your brand in public, right. So, whenever we are talking about the employer branding, we have talked about the employer branding. So, what the people talk about, right. So, before that, it goes to the outside, because the employees branding is communicating the outside. Before that, if we know that the sentiments are positive, right, okay, go ahead, do the employer branding. But if the sentiments are negative, they have certain grudges. Like here you will find there will be certain points where they will not getting the opportunity for promotion, they are not getting the increment, they are not getting the opportunity to grow and advancement. So, what they will do, the employer branding, they will not do any employer branding, rather than criticizing the employer, negative branding. So, sentiment analysis requires a systematic strategy for mining opinions and masses as unobtrusively as possible while transforming the data into the actionable insights and aligning it with the business outcomes. And therefore, it is the required, the actionable insight is required, and when we are able to align it with our the business outcomes, definitely we will be developing that employee sentiment analysis. It is simple in theory, but there can be obstacles to collecting and making the sense of all this data. Now, you see the major criticism of this survey method is this, that is the respondent's response, whether he has understood and then he has responded, whether he has responded honestly, is it the true picture of his sentiments or whatever the data you are collecting. So, for one thing, many companies have blind spots that leave them unaware of certain issues. So, in the organization culture, this is the requirement, that is the to have a totally transparent system, and there is a communication between the employer and employee, and they both are having the honesty. But practically there are certain blind spots. So, what are the blind spots? Blind spots means those spots which are not clear, and therefore, it is not transparent, we do not know what is the other side is. So, that makes us the unaware of the certain issues. One way to minimize the effects of issues when employees may feel uncomfortable being completely honest with HR, that is also the one thing is there. Now here the as HR executives, you are supposed to develop that bonding and relationship and the association with the employees, so that they are transparent with you. But the HR person, if he feels that he is empowered, and therefore, if he wants to know the sentiments and then they exploit the employee, if that perception is there, then HR will never come to know about the reality. So, the HR should be enough sensible and matured. If the HR person is himself is the immature person, then definitely in that case all these efforts will not make any sense. So, the being completely honest with HR, even if their feedback is anonymous, even when we do the research and then at that time we say the name is optional, right, but then there is the rest of the data. So, many times the respondent feel that is from the rest of the data, they will try to identify, however, we do not try to identify who is who, because we are not concerned, we are academicians, but in the industry they feel scared. So, therefore, they are not very much transparent to disclose that particular data, and if their feedback is anonymous, even there is no name, right, is to disregard data sets that are too small to yield the meaningful results, right. So, therefore, either the if the data set is huge, right, and enormous data responses are there, then definitely they will not be the concern, that is who is the person and what is the reflection is there. But in the case the data size is small, a small unit is there, a department, a section, then definitely it will not be difficult to find out, even you are having the anonymous data, that whose data is this. So, to making the meaningful results, what is required? You are required to be transparent. The studies separately show that one of the greatest factors in employee disengagement is employees feeling like they are not being given enough opportunities for professional growth and advancement or enough recognition. The employees are working for their personal growth, it is understood. So, organizational goal and individual goals, they are to be linked, but in the case when there are not enough opportunities for growth and advancement, even there is no recognition, And then in that case this study will say that is they are not being given enough opportunities, right. So, what will the employees will do? They will be disengaged, aloof, they may not resign, but they will not active participants. The irony is this, that is the how the leader takes this particular situation. If leader takes this particular situation as a normal condition, then organization will not grow. But the HR is so sensitive and conscious, that is those who are disengaged, and then he tries to identify, that is the why they are disengaged from the organization. And therefore, in that case, that is they will be looking for the more advancement and recognition, providing them the opportunity. Sensible HR will provide them the opportunity, talking about their the growth opportunities, or there will be the advancement, means that is a job enrichment. With 85% of employees disengaged at work, 85%. Now, more than ever, it is vital that HR departments take steps to really understand what their employees are thinking, saying and feeling. This is a very higher percentage. I feel that is the even more than 1/3 of your employees. As soon as this number crosses, it should be less than that also, it is not any statistical funda, but if it is even the more than the 1/3 of the employees, then there should be the alarming situation, and then we have to really understand that what is making them to disengaged. The culture, the policies, the decision making styles, the leadership styles, the job nature, organizational prospects, their growth, their the appreciation, what is lacking? Why such a high number of employees are disengaged? So, something is wrong with the organization, it is not with the employees only. That requires data, and to gather and understand the data, many forward thinking HR teams, right, they are turning to employee survey with the built in artificial intelligence tools to analyze the true meaning behind their words. So, here you can also identify that whatever the responses they are giving, the data is there, right. So, then you have to identify with the help of the artificial intelligence, that is the what is the true meaning behind their words. So, if the true feeling behind their words is this, that is the organization is great, but we are nowhere. So, that artificial intelligence will tell that is a lack of recognition. The employee is having the feeling of lack of recognition, and if there is a lack of recognition, their engagement will be low. Whether you call it employee sentiment analysis, opinion mining or the something else entirely, one thing is clear, this approach is more than just a buzzword. It is not a jargon, it might just be the answer to the employee's engagement problem. That is how to engage the employees. So, do not forget the three formulas: growth, advancement and recognition. Role of sentiment analysis working in the knowledge economy. Companies have always placed a high value on customer opinion. According to a report from the European Society for the Opinion and Marketing Research, that is SOMAR, in 2012 alone, companies around the globe spent almost $40 billion on the paid market research, and that number has only gone up in the recent years. So, therefore, in that case, that is the what is important is that this type of the survey are becoming a very popular, and we have to find out, our companies have to find out that is the what are the sentiments of employees. Of these mind-blogging annual spend, an inordinate amount around $25 billion is dedicated to online survey administration and analysis. what the right mate Charney is their executive editor at Recruiting Delhi in sentiment analysis and the future of work. The Gartner predicts that companies could spend up to $1 billion a year in market research by 2025. So, therefore, identifying the sentiment analysis of the employees, that is becoming very, very popular. While companies are eager to increase the spend on customer data, recognizing the return on investment, naturally when you are storing the data, analyzing the data, collecting the data, so you are making lot of investment of the time, investment of the cost, right, investment on the emotions. Recognizing the return on investment, many still lag behind in applying the same level of structure and resources to their internal programs. So, when you know that your employees are disengaged, they are not developing an ownership for their work, what is required? It is a failure of internal programs. Whatever the practices you are doing, those practices are really not making any change. So, you have to see your internal programs and see the customers, that is the internal employees, and modify accordingly. But if you say that our programs are the best programs and employees are not engaged, then that is the cat's eyes are closed. So, therefore, in that case, but as the stakes become higher and employee turnover rates climb, so even if you close your eyes, it will not solve the problem. So, that will be the employee turnover rates will be climb. It is increasingly clear that performance reviews and annual surveys are not enough to get a true pulse on your organization anymore. If you really want your organization to be competitive and survive for the long time, the HR has to be very sensitive enough to develop this type of these surveys, feedback, opinion, identify and see the internal programs, connect with them and develop the connect, emotional connect, sentimental connect between the employee and organization. In the knowledge economy, data is both the fundamental currency and the single most valuable asset for the pretty much every business and brand out there. So, what is the game? It is a whole game of your data, what your data is collected and then you analyze, identify the results and then take the actions, discussions. HR needs to realize what marketing has long known. People data represents the most significant driver of your brand, right. So, therefore, who employee branding is not by the product, but it is by the employees. Your business and your bottom line is there. So, what is your bottom line of your business? The bottom line of your business is your people. Businesses starting to recognize the importance of gathering and analyzing employee data on a regular basis, right. So, there has to be the importance of these culture, research culture. Dear friends, nowadays the analyst jobs, they are very much in demand because of this type of the practices. Whether you are able to develop those practices or not on a regular basis. You might have heard the term employee sentiment analysis getting thrown around a lot lately, but what exactly is it? Sentiment analysis is an approach that involves gathering large volume of opinions naturally from your employees and feedback to the capture, quantify and measure the brand perceptions in the which I have already mentioned in the beginning. In the case of employee sentiment, this relates to the way an organization is run and how workers feel about it. So, that feelings towards the organization, right, that is to be collect and then analyze. Feedback can be collected through the both standardized and open ended surveys. You can use the Likert scale 1 to 7 point Likert scale, get the surveys and then churn that data and creating the information and then writing the discussion and convert into the knowledge, or you can have the interviews also. So, many organizations still are having, there is the exit interview practices and they want to know that is why people are leaving, and then they understand their sentiments and then make the changes into the organizations. So, those successful organizations where the HR is the backbone and is often used to monitor these perceptions over time. Surveying only a representative sample of employees would not tell you what the bulk of your workforce is thinking. So, therefore, what is important? A representative sample, right, that will not only be enough even if the survey size is technically statistically valid. In order to gauge what the overwhelming sentiment of your workforce is, you need to hear from your workforce as a whole and frequently. This is very important. As a whole, holistic approach is to be there. You cannot go by the isolation. So, if you want to go for the holistic approach, you have to see the employer, employee, organization, culture, practices, all departments, sections, right, machine, main, machine, material, money, method, minutes, all 6 M's are to be taken into consideration to have a holistic structure. To be sure whether the analysis is accurate or not, the artificial intelligence will come in. So, we will take certain examples. SPS Companies Incorporation, a steel and pipe supplier, is using an emerging technology to measure employee sentiments and get a better sense of how its employees really feel. So, feelings of employees time to time, maybe during the festivals, maybe in the beginning of the years, maybe in the financial year, maybe after the appraisal, maybe the before appraisal, feelings before appraisal, feelings after appraisal. So, that is the we can do. Corey Capert, Vice President of HR at Kansas based SPS, wants the company's 600 plus employees to express themselves in the surveys. One survey question prompted employees to write in as many words as possible. One survey question, right. So, all of your thoughts, what is that? All of your thoughts, feelings and emotions about the person to whom you report. Write your all thoughts, feelings and emotions, and therefore about the person to whom you, about your boss. And now we see the analysis. The more words that they can use and the more emotions that they can convey in the words, the more powerful, the more accurate the sentiment analysis is. So, what words they are using in expressing their thoughts, feelings and emotions about their boss, right, and what the more powerful, the accurate the sentiments they are expressing by those words, that will create more accuracy as a sentiment analyst. So, it is just type an essay type basically. You know, performance appraisal is there. Performance appraisal is the 2-pair 360-degree, right, and the these essay type. So, this is essay type. Write about your boss, all thought, feelings and emotions, write about your boss. So, that is a sentiment analysis. SPS is using the ultimate software UltiPro perception tool, which assigns numerical values, because what we said, quantify and measure. So, value scores to assess whether a comment is positive, negative or neutral. Previously, SPS used online and paper multiple choice surveys as in the past, and to assess the employee sentiment. The surveys were followed by weeks of the data analysis. Sentiment analysis is a new technology for HR, is trying to capture feelings, and it is not limited to surveys in the open ended questions, right. So, therefore, it is for the capturing the feeling and not as in the only limited to the writing like essay writing, which I have given the example. It is not only restricted to that. So, you can have the quantitative data also and qualitative data also. KinCorp, a company that focuses on HR engagement technology, uses another approach, tension analysis. To monitor internal emails, now you see that is the when you are writing last 100 emails you have written and 50 emails, 100 emails, and then your words of those emails that will be analyzed. So, your mindset that will be clear, that is what is your mindset. In most of the emails you are arrogant, aggressive, blaming, complaining the other party. So, your feelings will be understood. If your emails are having sense of humor, your emails are very formal, so then there is no sentiment is there. So, that it may be the emails and charts to examine what is going on in the workplace. Even in the social media you will see. In the social media you just see the last 50 comments by any particular personality. I am sure as HR expert you will be able to understand what mindset the person is going on. So, that sentiment analysis by the mails written or the chats done or the words used or the expression of emotions, it may be able to flag a program. So, what to do about this information? Design and develop a training program, that if this is a feeling, for example, there is no feeling of the ownership, because you find in all the mails it is the blame is to the others. In the chatting it has been seen that is the person is blaming others. In the communication, in the meetings, his participation is very clear that he is not able to do because of others. So, then you can plan a flag program, how to develop the team building. For instance, if there is sexual misconduct in department, the analysis may find normal patterns of engagement for the male population, but what may be a giant dip in the female engagement is there. Helen Protivin, analyst at Gartner, considers employee sentiment analysis an emerging space in the human capital management technology domain. New techniques of the natural language processing and more robust models continue to emerge, enabling higher accuracy rates and more pertinent insight is there. In India also we can do this type of the analysis through the research work, and especially the employee sentiment analysis. Protein which does not believe sentiment analysis, like in the DOMS during the research we keep on doing all this type, Department of Management Studies, IIT Roorkee, we are keep on doing this type of the sentiment analysis, has reached a degree of accuracy where you would see each and every sentiment taking or correct. It remains useful and can provide useful insights. Again, in the previous session also I have talked about that it is the insight is important, because whatever is the insight that will be reflected workplace, it will not continue for a long time to make an artificial presentation. Whatever is inside there, it will reflect one day. But some users may still be put off by the false positives or incorrect taking of their sentiments. She advises customers to test various solutions and monitor model performance over time. So, you have to do again and understand if some tagging is coming, you have to judge it, you have to give a trial, see whether that tagging is correct or not, and then you decide about what is to be done. These technologies fit under the broader category of emotion analytics. This is tech that can glean employee moral and feeling from verbal and non-verbal actions. The non-verbal technology includes the video analysis. So, from the body language, from the interactions, from the person's the facial expressions, right, we can find out through this video how much his sentiments are involved. Emotions analytics can examine involuntarily micro expressions which are invisible to the eye, but may capture a true reaction or feeling. So, sometimes certain emotions that may not be catched, right, by the eyes, you may not be able to catch them by eyes, right, but may capture a true reactions or the feeling is there with this examination is there. The perception tool's ability to sort results into the different compare and contrast measurements as well as display it on a heat map and present it on a dashboard has gotten good feedback from upper level management. The speed and detail of the results mean that they can begin discussions quickly with managers, right. So, there will be the interactions. They can give managers feedback and pivot it into a conversation about the what they could do to develop and grow as a manager into the future. So, introducing the sentiment analysis technology, more time and data any NLP based machine learning instance has to work with, the better its results are going to be. So, in this case early adopters and actually have an advantage over the laggards are there, right. So, therefore, in that case whenever when new learning programs are there and then learning instances to work with, it will show how much they are involved, engagement is there, and early adopters learners. So, that shows that is they are keen, they are involved, they are engaged to learn. So, their learning is faster, the focus is there, concentration is there. So, they are fast learners, that is all. So, therefore, they will be much ahead than the laggards. To collect employee sentiments data at scale, many companies are turning to employee sentiment analysis software that is powered by the artificial intelligence and machine learnings. This technology allows them to quickly and easily send out open ended surveys that let employees answer in their own words, right. So, therefore, there should be the Likert scale and responses, but there should be the paragraphs also. From there, the natural language processing tools can rapidly review the answers, analyzing the sentiment behind the words and providing a detailed report to HR and managers, right. So, naturally, so when they are writing, right, and they will when it will be analyze the sentiments, we will find a default report is there by the HRs and managers. It is not a complete replacement for face to face communication. It may still struggle to interpret things like sarcasm, right, sarcastic, the people are sarcastic, there will be the jargons and qualified sentiments are there. So, therefore, in that case this type of the reflections with each other you can see, and complex mixed opinions which humans often have are hard to the understand. So, very difficult to understand the behavior. So, what is required? Become the part of the conversation. Far from replacing human insights, employee sentiments analysis software is designed to complement it. These tools take care of the more time consuming the aspects of data analysis, while providing the HR teams with the deeper insights that might otherwise have the missed. That means HR is never going to become obsolete, it is only going to get smarter. So, always with the period of time and with the technological development, it becomes important that is you are going to use the technology in a smarter way. Now, I would like to take 2-3 examples of the statements and then we can find out that is how much the involvement is there. So, here you find days of the weekly which you like the most: Monday 2, Tuesday 0, Wednesday 2, Thursday 0, then Friday 5, Saturday 11, Sunday 8. Number of people, these are the responses out of the 28, and here we see the graph shows that people like Saturdays more, because there are the 11 respondents. They have shown the more the relaxed weekend culture is dominated here, and in normally most of the organizations. Why? Because that working at the workplace is becoming more stressful. So, when it is becoming more stressful, then on the Saturdays the person will definitely like to take a rest, and for him it is not the Sunday, it is a Saturday, because tomorrow is holiday. So, it means that he has stretch, he wants certain rest or stressful. So, he wants to relax. Now, the another question, quality of sleep. So, below average 2, average 14, good 7, excellent 5 number of people. The graph depicts that the quality of sleep is average among the people. So, that average quality of sleep, that is a 14, but excellent is 5. Now, there can be two interpretations, either they are so much satisfied with their work, so they are having the excellent quality of sleep, right, or they might be they are not concerned with the work, so they are having the excellent sleep. So, that will be more answers will be required to support this. The next is the do you exercise daily? Yes and no. From the graph we can observe that almost half of the group is interested in exercising daily, which is nowadays you find it is to be more relaxing, more competent, more fitness, that exercise is becoming important. Now here the which weather you like the most? Winter, windy, summer, cold weather, snowy, rainy, cloudy and autumn season, and here you find the winter. How can you make the data? So, therefore, I have chosen winter over any other weather. They prefer to work into the winter. It shows that is you can keep the high targets in the winter, you can take the maximum productivity because people are enjoying the weather and they can do the job. So, finally, we can say time of the day when you are happy, morning, afternoon, evening, early morning, night or late night, right. These questions are for you also. So, you can find out. So, that is the which is the best time for you to listen this video and to enjoy this video. So, number of people are morning are 11, afternoon 1, evening 11, early morning 3, night 1 and late night 1. The graph depicts that most of the people feel energetic in the morning and evening time, right. People do exercises in the morning time which makes them feel more energetic, but as the day grows their energy level that goes down. But again if they take the rest, the evening again you will find that is their energy level is increasing. So, these are the employee sentiment analysis, and where you can do the qualitative analysis also and quantitative analysis. You can identify that how you can do this particular job. These are the different references and therefore, you can find out that is the how to engage your employees more. Talented people are to be recognized and see that they are able to contribute. So, this is all about the talent acquisition and management. As you know that is we have taken this study material from the different places and references have been given, because there is nothing like a single textbook. There are the handbooks are there are the different articles are there, and there are the edited books are there. So, which have been taken into consideration. I am sure that is you as a talented employee will be getting the benefit out of this particular subject and will be able to develop the more talented pool in your organization. So, at the end I will say आप सभी को शिव की शक्ति, मीरा की भक्ति, गणेश की सिद्धि, चाणक्य की बुद्धि, शारदा का ज्ञान, कर्ण का दान, राम की मर्यादा और कुबेर की संपदा प्राप्त हो. Thank you very much.